What's the vibe of this tribe?
This game is totally fickle. It can turn on a dime, which is what I'm hoping it does again, because right now I'm in a world of hurt and I need a dime to turn.
We all see Goliath.
Jonathan is ripping through the water. Jonathan is single-handedly determined to win this challenge for Taku.
Yes, that's right. Survivor 42, episode 4, Vibe of the Tribe, is over. But we're just getting started here tonight on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting. I'm Dave Mader, joined with my brother Jeff Mader and co-host Jaemeel Robinson to break down this episode, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or where you might listen to on the audio version. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Jaemeel?
It's a mixed bag.
Yes. Okay. So in spectacular fashion, because you've had some great Survivor fantasy drafts over the years. There was one year where you got all 3 picks, Jaemeel. 1, 2, 3, first place, second place, third place with your picks. This year you were out in day 9. You had 3 picks this year. Most of us only got 2 in this draft, and all 3 of yours are out before. A lot of people have lost 1.
Oh yeah.
I feel for you. But Jackson was your first overall pick, and then you kind of got stuck with a few people who were undrafted, sort of near the end, as the snake draft format goes. So
I didn't necessarily feel too bad about who I ended up with, and it's not like, look, let's be honest with ourselves. The people I picked weren't terrible players; they just ended up.
There was some misfortune here. A couple of things went the wrong way. As we see, Swati, is it Swati or Swati? Swathi.
I think so. Or Swati.
I think it was Swati.
Oh, okay. I'm going all whatever the correct.
It's okay. She can correct us. Come on the show, correct us.
Yes. However it's pronounced. I heard a few different versions. Goes out here 3-1. Tori is kept. I think that this was the wrong move for the Blue Tribe tonight. I agree that Tori was a liability. She's a loose cannon. I think like where Roxroy's like, in my gut, I don't trust her. And I think that Romeo saying like, well, yeah, Swati is playing so hard, and I think that's true, but this is not the vote to get her out.
She wasn't playing that hard.
Well, she told everyone that they're the number one. That was her fatal flaw. And she goes out here because of that.
I don't even think that's like her fatal flaw.
They tried real hard in the edit to sell this on that idea.
It was a bad episode as far as that tribe and the vote out in the tribal was blah. But the rest of the episode was kind of interesting. I think, as Jeff has alluded to, I don't think we're going to be covering that tribe too much. It's pretty cut and dry at how terrible everyone is playing, and how Roxroy is just a complete, like, he is him. What, you like him?
I like Roxroy. Yeah, he's the only guy in that tribe I'm kind of cheering for.
Cheering for?
Well, that's the whole thing. There's nobody on that tribe worth cheering for. I think the only one who was kind of worth cheering for was Swati, and now they're gone.
Right.
So
but now I kind of like Roxroy because he said a nice thing about Swati. I thought I liked him there. I was like, okay, I like this guy now. Like
he comes across as a total tool.
I'm not liking Romeo either. I'm not where art thou art, Juliet.
Drea seems cool, but like it seems like she's deciding the whole fate of everyone on the tribe, and it's because she has the extra vote. I think that's not being talked about enough. That like the fact she has this extra vote, it just gives her all this power. Like if she knows the bullets are coming to her,
but also a target on her back. I think a little bit.
So
right?
Swati had the right idea, and it's just that Rox was. Well, Tori was a total imbecile in terms of talking to Rox, right? And then they just blew up Swati's game completely.
Yeah, like she kind of got played. I don't know. Like it was Romeo was kind of
her game.
Her game was to be friends with everybody.
Her game was, you're my number one, eh? Oh, you're my number one. I really want to work with Tori. Like, it was an indecisive, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to do like, I'll just try to align with whoever. And, hopefully that'll just work out for me. There wasn't a lot of thought put into it. She was just trying to slide by. I thought
she was just trying to be in everyone's good graces, but then I think when you say you're my number one, I think some people take that very seriously. You know, it's like saying I love you in Survivor, basically.
But if they're an idiot, like you don't take that seriously. They've never at this point they haven't voted. Have they? Have they voted?
No, but on a tribe of idiots, I think that there's something to be said about this. You know, it can go this way.
I mean, but I don't think I would say, especially in like the first tribe of 6 or anything, I would tell more than one person you're my number one, because what do you think they're going to compare notes? They're going to compare notes at some point. You just, you know, you're right, Dave. It's like saying I love you, but you still, you know, you tell one person you love them, you tell the next person, hey, how about a final 3 deal? And then the next person, you're like, let's vote together till merge, right? So then, you know, you break it down into layers where you got I love you. Let's, you know,
for the mistress, you say I you know, one day, baby, and then it's like there's for the second
one
mistress,
day, baby.
You say, well, you know, I gotta
once
get
the
rid
divorce
of the
is finalized.
Mistress. I don't know what you would say to a second mistress or a first mistress, really, but that's what I would theorize. You don't overpromise to everybody, because even like in Big Brother Canada, which we're not talking about right now, but there was somebody on that I think it's Josh over on that show who's got like final 2s with all these people, and if they all figure out that he's these final 2s with, you know, with Josh, then not good for Josh, right?
Josh is fine.
Josh is fine, so it's okay to do it. You know, why did they keep Tori? Why keep Tori over Swati at this vote? It doesn't make sense.
She seems utterly unlikable.
She's utterly unlikable. You take her to a tribe that it gets mixed up at any point. You know they're gonna want to get rid of her before they want to get rid of Swati. You know, in some ways the strategy does make sense here. I understand why Swati got voted out of here, because if you go to a tribe, especially like say it merged tomorrow from the 3 tribes, right? You wouldn't be shocked if Swati was able to maneuver herself and kind of play both sides. And, you know, if you eliminate that person early, it's kind of sometimes better, because, you know, like Tori's going to do what Tori's going to do when it comes to merge. And she's probably going to be an easy vote out because she's going to blab or she's going to make some mistake later on in the game. So you keep her around, where Swati is probably going to like get smarter, get better at the game the longer she goes. You know what I mean? So I understand kind of the logic of like, if I want a shield, like they talked about Jonathan as a shield tonight. But to me, Tori is also a shield. She's a shield of chaos. But
they voted out Zach over her too, right? Like they could have had Zach all this time instead of her. They lived with her for 6 more days, and I guess they went, it's not that bad. I guess I can live with this woman.
So they did vote out someone else, yes. And you know, if they had Zach still in the game, then Marianne might have been sated as well. You know, that would be her thirst trap, just in case she got swapped onto a tribe.
Right. Mary Bass pointing out here, because Jeff, you're number one, you were supposed to be able to tell them anything without them telling anything. And so it's like your most your confidant, your ride or die.
It's basically saying like, you know, let's get married. And it's like, you asked other people that if I was getting married to them, you know, it's like, that was only between us. How dare you, baby? You know?
Yeah. Like it's over promising. Like you can only give your heart away to one person, I guess, in Survivor, or maybe not. I don't know. It definitely didn't work out for Swati.
I've never thought about that though, but maybe that is the essence of Survivor. Is basically you have to tell as many people I love you and let's work together to the end. And then they either believe you or they don't. So they either fall in love with you or they don't fall in love with you.
Right. It's about levels of trust, right? It's
right. And then you get like, say like you're a really popular person or player, you're able to get like 9 people to fall in love with you, and then you try to ride that to the end of the game. You know, you get as many of those players, or
they think they can beat. Yeah, they're in love with the idea they can beat you at the end. They could be in love with different things about you, right? In terms of how it aligns with their game, which, you know, wants me to segue over to what's his name, Iron Mike Turner, over there from Hoboken, where he was like, Daniel, I got to be honest with you. Who was he talking to at that point?
Hoy? Was it High?
Was it High? Yeah, he's like, Hi, I gotta tell you, it's between you and me, Daniel, way down on my list now, way down. And I think for some people, it's like it's not even saying like you're my number one. It's just be like you're high on my list. You're pretty high up on my list.
Did you enjoy that explanation though from Daniel, where he was like, actually, in some ways, like Chanel was, it was her idea, but like she had the greatest screen ever. But didn't you agree with Daniel a little bbit that like he was basically making some good points of why Chanel was also guilty, but it just happened the fact that she didn't have a vote. That didn't seem to come up, as there's a bunch of things. They just talked about their emotions. They didn't talk about the game a lot when they came back from camp.
Well, you know whose fault that is? That's Daniel's, because he made such a mess of the tribal council to begin with and didn't approach it logically in the first place. He came with emotion and backpedaling that they're like, we're not listening to you all of a sudden switching into logical mode. You were just telling tales emotionally during tribal, and we made a decision based on that. So don't turn around and tell me now, don't listen to that part of me, listen to this. No, it doesn't work that way. He made his own bed. He has to live in it.
That is true. I don't feel bad for Daniel at all. And based on what we saw in the preview for next week, it's even getting worse for Daniel. He's fishing with a dislocated shoulder. It's not like, but he's counting on the idea of the game is fickle. I played it a little bit during the countdown.
This game is totally fickle. It can turn on a dime, which is what I'm hoping it does again, because right now I'm in a world of hurt and I need a dime to turn.
It's a dime to turn.
I don't like that phrase. It's very...
Turn on a dime, Jeff.
It's not very endearing. Usually those type of phrases, you're like, oh, that's kind of cute, but not that one.
Nope. I'm looking forward to him getting out.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his gameplay. I don't see anything really redeeming. He's overthinking his strategy. Like it's too much.
He's Cochrane season 1, but like
worse
with this belief in himself that he's actually better than he actually is.
A cocky season 1 Cochrane, not a good combination.
He's like Cochrane season 1 with Ozzy's like ego,
bravado,
and a dislocated shoulder.
And a dislocated shoulder. It's very maybe he watched a lot of South Pacific.
That would be Cochrane if he did anything like Ozzy. It's like I'm going to climb a tree, dislocated shoulder.
Dislocated. Yeah. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's what he is. He's like, I'm like Cochrane, but I also want to be like Ozzy. Yeah. And he watched a lot of South Pacific and got to a point where he was like, you know what? That's my game. And neither of those guys won that season. Actually, they got kind of trounced at the merge.
Right. Well, I don't know. The Green Tribe is an interesting one, right? Because I think I'm coming around on High sometimes. In this episode, I was kind of like on High. Chanel was in some of her testimonials, showing where she was kind of admitting, maybe it was my idea to get rid of Lydia, but I'm not letting Daniel destroy my game. Like this guy, I'll let this guy dig a hole. And so I was kind of like digging Chanel's sort of like composure compared to how she was kind of coming at Daniel in some of like the coming out of the tribal and some of the sessions we were seeing. But I think that some of that was just put on. She had to kind of hold her ground. It wasn't necessarily completely her reacting as much as it might have seemed. Jaemeel, any read here on Green?
You're absolutely correct in those regards. High also did a great job of sure, they voted against Mike, but they also closed that gap too. He did what he was supposed to do, and who has come out of it looking great. High basically has everyone except Daniel, and technically he could have Daniel if he wanted to, because he's in a power position, right? Mike's going to do whatever High wants because he knows he's on the outs, but he's still higher than Daniel. He still has a place in the tribe.
Right. But Daniel's hoping it turns on a dime. The vibe of the tribe, as Jeff proves.
What's the vibe of this tribe?
You know your episode is kind of boring when Prope's quote is the episode title.
What's the vibe of this tribe?
And it took 8 seconds to answer. I don't know how long it was, but it was a while.
She just stares.
I don't know how to explain it.
But it was a long pause. I like timed it. It was like a good 10, 15 seconds.
Was it that long? Oh
like
my God.
It was long where she's just like, and all you hear is crackling of the flames and like a little gust of wind. And then she finally, I don't know how to explain it. We're not coming together. I'm like, this tribe is so unrootable. There's no one rootable on this blue tribe. Vote whoever you want out, I guess. But let's talk about a tribe that I think is kind of rootable. Orange, Taku. And I think Jonathan.
Some of them are.
Jonathan is ripping through the water. Jonathan is single-handedly determined to win this challenge for Taku.
Right.
I really
He also
was a shark.
Sorry.
I enjoyed the backstory with Jonathan tonight, and like his whole I don't know, it was pretty psycho, but like his dad woke him up when he was 3.
I got two clips here. Listen.
When I was young, and I was like 3, my dad, he used to wake me up and make me do pull-ups.
Right?
Make me.
Goku?
Make me. When he was 3, he was a 3-year-old doing pull-ups. Jeff, this is how you create a superhero, right?
This is how Olympians are born. He's a gladiator.
Right, he's a gladiator. Jaemeel, his dad used to run up mountains with his brother.
When I was young, my dad, he used to wake me up and he would tell my brother and I to run up a mountain and race. And whoever lost had to do it 3 more times.
3 more times.
His father was Goku and he's Gohan. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Gohan. That's actually a great comparison. He's Dragon Ball Z.
So psycho. That's abuse. You have to do it 3 more times. A mountain?
I'm kind of I've wondered why there's been so little like DRs of him. Like this is one of the first times. What episode is this? 4?
4.
Right, it took them a while to like bring him onto the show, and I think probably because he says a lot of things about his childhood where you just said like it's kind of abusive.
Yeah, but this is how you create a like it's almost like, should Steve Rogers be allowed to play Survivor? If Steve Rogers was a real person,
Right.
Jaemeel, right? The super soldier serum, and you can you put him into the game of Survivor fairly?
Look, I will allow it if they play like a version of the Star Spangled Man in the background anytime he does something like Jonathan does. Because he was ripping through that challenge.
Jonathan is ripping through the water.
They needed a shot of Marianne just kind of like
she was barely holding onto the boat. She's supposed to be pulling the boat behind her. The boat's pulling her as he's pulling both of those people. And Omar and who's the woman?
Lydia.
No, not Lydia. Lindsay
Lindsay
from in the boat, right? And like Jonathan's just like boom, 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 and like the demoralizing effect of the other 2 tribes on blue and green, because they're like, we don't have a Jonathan.
It's hard to not view them as like indestructible because they have this Goliath and they seem to be working so well, but there's something that we have to figure out that they're doing that we're not doing yet.
Yeah, you're gonna go to a time machine and have your father almost kill you.
Yeah, we have to go back in time, Tori, and we got to get you. Your dad's gonna make you run up a mountain 3 times. Like, if you lose this thing, you'll be doing pull-ups from the time you're 3 years old, and if you do all that, you can be like Jonathan, and you could be like almost like a pro wrestler,
Super soldier.
But back
he
to my
is
question.
kind of like Steve Rogers, Dave. Like, to answer that question, he is a little bit like that.
And how strong is too strong to be on Survivor? If there is such a thing.
I think this guy is not even like, he's even probably more athletic than some pro athletes, because he's like the number 1 pull-up guy and gives world records or something. Like I would say he's probably more athletic than a professional golfer, obviously. Like a lot of pro athletes.
I think he's the most athletic person ever on Survivor. So that's
I
like
agree.
Ozzy, better than Joe.
Boston Rob season, like early season Boston Rob.
Yeah, more than John Morrison, like the tops.
More than John Rocker, I would say.
Well, John Rocker was a pitcher.
We've had some like pro football players and baseball players, like
we've had Jeff Kent. He was a baseball player.
Yeah,
but they haven't been like this. Like, even Big James, the Gravedigger, he was not like this.
No, James was just like he's good at like digging ditches. Right. John Morrison, I think, is the most comparable, and he is superior to John Morrison.
Right, or even like Anthony from Big Brother Canada 7, Jaemeel. When we saw him
Champagne Poppy.
Champagne Poppy. He looked big and swole. He might look bigger than Jonathan, but Jonathan is like the real deal. It's like he's like the right balance of like muscle and athleticism, and
he has a perfect body for swimming, a perfect body for like running, jumping, like literally everything. He is perfect for Survivor, where he could just crush these challenges.
But he's not perfect for Survivor because he does have some flaws in his game.
Jonathan, does it speak to the idea of a tribe finding its core?
Absolutely. We have such a solid four, Jeff, that I feel comfortable working with these guys so much that these challenges are not easy, but I mean, we've been winning and it's so encouraging, man. I'm stoked.
See, I think he wasn't even talking about strategy of the game. He was talking about the fact that they're a solid four in the challenges and they're a good team, and they go out there.
It was like a captain speech. It was like a pro athlete kind of speech. Like, how you doing out there? We're a great team. We come out and we work together. Almost like a football kind of
110%.
100%. And we never stop communicating. We're always eyes locked, and we're just go.
Keep our eye on the prize, and we get it. And we're gonna get these 10 fish. But then like Marianne and the rest of the tribe were like, don't say that.
It's hard to not view them as like
sorry, that's the wrong one.
And Jonathan basically said, hey, we're a strong four and you can't break us apart. So I'm just hitting my head being like, oh my goodness. Yes, what you're saying is true, but you couldn't just be vague, please.
Quiet, Marianne. You don't. You're here on borrowed time due to the grace of this Survivor god, Jonathan. Okay, right? When she put her basket in and she's like, yay! I'm like, vote her out now. Stop the chat.
You're not a fan? Is your mom still watching? Is she a fan of Marianne yet?
She hasn't watched this episode yet.
Okay.
I was right then and there. I'm like, throw the next challenge, vote her out. We're a strong three, Jeff. We're a strong three.
I like Marianne. I'm still digging Marianne. Depends how much edit I get of her. This was a good amount.
I hope on the Mallrats you get someone yelling at you every 5 seconds and yay! You scored a goal, Dave! Yay!
I've had that player on the Mallrats almost our entire tenure, so it's who I mean.
He hit me. Lord.
Well, I think Marianne is sometimes fun to watch, but most of the time, 95% of the time, I'm like, stop, just stop what you're doing. Like when they scored the ball in the challenge and they got like the second one in, and she like was doing like these kick flips, or like not flips, but like kicking her legs up, and like I was like, you literally look like an 8-year-old with like the hat with the umbrella on top and a big giant sucker, and I'm just like, it's ridiculous.
She's got a different kind of an energy to her for sure.
You mean, wait, you said a hat with a propeller on the top of it?
Yeah, the propeller and the giant sucker,
a beanie,
a dunce,
a beanie,
folks,
hat.
Americans, Amerifriends, that is a beanie. Okay, what I'm wearing is a toque. That's a toque, or a winter hat, or a knit hat.
Recognize. Yeah, like it's right, But Marianne, I don't. They could lose a challenge like on purpose if they wanted to just vote out Marianne, but they don't.
Do it. Do it.
So.
Here's Marianne.
Marianne's one of these people that I'm just okay. I'm kind of interested because I have two people on this tribe. I have Jonathan and what's her name, Lindsay.
Yeah, you have we have both. I have the other two on that tribe, Jeff.
Right, Marianne and Omar. Okay. Of the I feel like the main person that really will decide which way that tribe goes will be Lindsay and Omar. Those two players. The other two players are kind of like, one's a giant shield and the other one is Marianne. Who would you vote out?
That's a good question.
Swap Jonathan immediately. Well, actually, no, I wouldn't vote out Jonathan because I would hope we don't lose a challenge if he swapped onto my team, so he never has to worry.
Yeah, I as long as Taku is together, like as they are in this form, there's no incentive to vote him out yet. But as soon as you get to a merge, all bets are off.
I think if Jonathan gets to the merge, who's gonna beat this guy in a challenge?
But did Jonathan indirectly do a good thing tonight by saying we're a solid four? And if people believe that enough, are the other Taku members kind of married to him, whether they like it or not, and forced to work with him in some ways because they don't have the real option of working with the others because they see them as a strong four?
Well, that depends how they go into it, Like if Marianne blabs her mouth and says, "No, we're not strong," and let's make a 6 and blah 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 blah, that will be stupid. They really
Marianne's not going to do that. Marianne would never do that.
That sounds a lot like Marianne. Where I feel like yeah, Lindsay's going to get frustrated with Marianne later on in this season.
This will be really interesting to see like the post-merge dynamics, because I feel like it's going to be. You got Orange, who's such like a high energy, kind of high personality tribe, and then Green is kind of like this. I don't know. At least they're interesting, but they're kind of like all over the place. And then Blue is just this boring, unrootable kind of blah tribe. Like, I want them all to go.
Which isn't Green? Is Green like the
that's
Mike
and Daniel and Lydia.
Daniel. Okay, and then the Blue is like the Drea and
Roxroy, Romeo, and Tori.
Yeah, so obviously Orange is like the favorite, I think, of all, like 95% of the audience is probably cheering for Orange. It's hard not to. And then the Green tribe is okay, but really sucks because Daniel's there. Once Daniel's gone.
But he's like this guy, he's like this villain. You almost want him to hang around for a while.
He's not even. He's like
he's not fun. That's the thing. Villain. Like if you're a villain, you make me like you. Don't feel like
just looking for a villain to cheer for.
He's more like
not one to cheer for.
No, he's more like he's not a villain to cheer for. He's more of a villain to be sort of like, oh, it's this guy.
I will give him credit though. At least he's something.
Like sometimes you have that guy. It's like the minor villain before you move on to the major villain, right?
Sometimes I wonder, like on Survivor, I'm like, is it the people that they kind of assess as like, oh, these people are not good TV characters, and they kind of like they'll persuade things maybe to get those people axed off the show because they're like not bringing much, you know what I mean? And I wonder if that's kind of what happened to Swati. Kind of who went out last week? It was
most recently it was Jenny.
Yeah, see, like they're kind of like not really bringing a lot to the TV show, and they have. But at the end of the day, this is a TV show, And sometimes I kind of go like, yeah, I see why those people got voted out. I wonder sometimes that the producers kind of like sway things the way they want to. Not that they make it happen, but they kind of want certain things to occur.
There could be like a psychological
Swati.
Right, Jenny, maybe.
I think there is that in the subconscious of a lot of different casts of not just Survivor, but also Big Brother, where you're like, when you hear rhetoric like these people deserve to be here, or these people are kind of belong here, I think a lot of sometimes what they mean is that that this is going to make the best season ever, and I want to be part of a season that's remembered and not have a season full of duds, and let's get these duds out of here, or sort of thing. Like if they're not good TV, if they're not going to create some fun feeds, or at least some drama in the house or something like that.
There's definitely something to that, I think.
Okay, so where do we go next, guys? The challenges tonight, what did you think of them? Other than Jonathan just dominating them, but did you like the way they were designed?
Oh, there was 2 of them, right? Yeah, there was a reward challenge, and then so that one was he pulled the boat by.
No, the second one was the boat.
The first one was they did
the rope thing, and they were all trying to get untangled in the ropes, and he just like we said, he can just do it all himself, and even Drea was like, yeah, he just did the whole thing, like. Won the whole challenge.
He said he led the whole thing. Is how
he led the whole thing. Like
he basically used the 3 people in his tribe. He's like, just stand there, and I'll run around you, and I'll entangle us faster than they'll ever be able to do it together, working together.
Right.
They should have just like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Just have him pick up people and move them around.
Like, it's a real interesting group of in both challenges tonight, including the puzzle that we see later on with Omar. He does really well with that he's a veterinarian, right? And so I think that having just that training to I look at things like puzzles and kind of abstract things like this, part of a lot of what they do in their training. At least they do with dentists, and I'm hoping that like Johnny Mac talked about those kinds of things he had been trained in. And I think that I see that kind of same thing in Omar. Where he's just like, and he was using like Marianne was almost like his assistant in in that.
Yeah, no, scalpel. It was so obvious I thought about it as a viewer watching it before even Probe said it. And then he says that line where he was like, Marianne's basically his assistant.
Yeah. it's like this foursome, this tribe, because they lost Jackson day 3, and then they got rid of Mariah, and then now they've been sort of like this real dynamic TV show characters. These 4, I think this is I'll remember this for a while. Probably because I have 2 of them. Probably because 2 of them are from Canada, and the other one's Jonathan. And then Lindsay's is good too. I like Lindsay, but she's maybe the least eccentric of the 4, right? She's the least memorable, but yeah, I think her potential to go far in this game is quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think just the overall tribe, if like they can at least be a solid 3 or 4, like the Orange tribe, and they don't actually waver and they actually stay solid, they could do really well, because the other 2 tribes are a mess. And that's how you it's always the tribe that has like kind of less people that gets merged, and they're always in the middle because the other 2 tribes are like, oh, we're big and we got to take each other out, so that kind of that lower tribe always is in the best spot. And if the Orange just sticks together, I mean, you have a good chance as anybody, I think, in the history of Survivor getting to the end.
Yeah, Mary Bass asking, is this the time? Well, she's saying, she's actually not asking. She's stating, I need them to mix up the teams now. But that's my question: is Jaemeel, you think this would be the right time to do like a swap?
Immediately.
Yeah,
immediately.
And how fast is Jonathan gone? As soon as
he has to lose.
Yeah, and he won't lose. He'll make sure they don't lose. Yeah. Like, could you imagine like a whole tribe of people working against Jonathan while he tries to win, while the other 3 like try to swim in the other direction?
Dragging the entire team.
Yeah, and they're just like they're all trying to swim the other direction, so they'll lose and they can vote him out. He won't allow it. He'll just like pull all of them to the victory. He'll drag them up the beach.
He does the puzzle.
Does the puzzle by himself. It's like, yeah, it's just like Jonathan has won this all by himself. I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy too. He seems like a good energy, and despite the fact that he's basically been raised as a superhero to like fight the forces of darkness, but
right, he's a comic book character.
He's like Shang-Chi.
The big twist at the at merge is he turns around, looks at Jeff, and goes, "Hail Hydra," and then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. What are we gonna do? Jonathan's turned dark, or he always was."
Yeah, I could see it. I think a little bit with Jonathan, he's just. At least we're getting to see him on the show now, and I think I want to see more of his personality, because he is such a freak of nature as far as a Survivor player. Like, and that's saying something, because Jeff Probst is the type of guy that always encourages like amazing performance, and he loves athleticism. How into it the challenge he was this at the end there when they were doing the puzzle. He like jumped for joy when Green came back. He was
he just wants it to be. I just wanted to be close every time. I just wanted it to be close. But it's interesting how Jeff has changed through these challenges. Because tonight, when Lydia was jumping off a few times trying to grab that key, and she couldn't quite get it. And in the old days, Jeff would be like, "You gotta take Lydia. That's not what you came here to do." But now he's like, "Good try, Lydia. Try again." He's like, but it seems so unnatural for him to be like supportive and
because he doesn't want to.
He's a new mellow Jeff. He has outtakes of Jonathan just doing superhuman stuff. He's there in his tent. He's like, "Leave me alone for the next 3 hours." Just watching outtakes. He's like,
"I'm gonna smoke a fat doobie."
He has his own self-commentary. He's like, "Look at his biceps rippling in the sun."
Yeah.
He's like Vince McMahon, just like salivating. He's like, "Look at this monster of a man."
It's just for him, though.
Calls up Mark Burnett. He's like, "Oh, he's like the old days, like the glory days, Mark."
He secretly records like 2000 style commentary on the new episodes, and then we'll get him in a vault years later. Oh, okay, this is what Jeff would have really said.
"This man's a monster. He's decimating the field."
The finest specimen in the history of Survivor, Jonathan is single-handedly pulling his team to victory. Like when he was pulling that boat today, and Marianne was swimming with him, and she was literally just getting dragged along the boat. Was the
dragged behind the boat she's supposed to be pulling.
He's a cartoon character playing Survivor. It's amazing to watch. He's like my favorite person on Survivor in a long time, just because he's so ridiculous.
Right,
Jonathan
but
and Roxroy cannot be on the same tribe together.
if you were playing in a season with him, would you have bitterness towards him? Would you be like,
I
would
would
love
know.
this. I would
I
love
would
this
lo-
dude.
I would love to get to the end, and then with him, like I would try to align with him so closely, because if I could get to the end with him, or even to the final 3 and then cut him, then he served his purpose. But if I get to the end with him, I think I could out talk him. As far so like he's like the perfect player to play with at Survivor.
right?
He's
Which is
a
why
video
Lindsay
game.
might be in the best position of anybody.
My question is, can he start a fire?
See, and that's important.
Probably with his eyes, Jaemeel. He could probably like shoot beams out of them.
He could probably rub his hands together and a spark would emerge.
He goes like this.
And lightning bolts from his arse. Everything else. Mary Bassey, I would never even vote out Jonathan if she was on the tribe with him. I want him to win rewards, or even like
and then take me. Exactly.
take me. Yeah, be in his good graces.
Even if he's on the other team, I want him on the other team. It'd be great because immediately like you have a shield. You have a shield. You have a
someone to
person
vote
that's
out.
always going to be the object of people's focus.
Yeah.
And it's like, we'll try again. If you're a semi-competent person, it's like, you can't vote me out, because if you vote me out, then there's no one who can compete with Jonathan. So you got to keep me in this game. We'll take another. We keep until we get a chance where he doesn't win, and then we vote him out. But if you vote out anyone that's good at challenges, right, he's going to be the only one left.
Right. So, okay, let's say you're Lindsay and you're the master. Lindsay and Omar, like they want to they merge in this tribe with the 4 current Taku members, right? And let's say, like, what's their best option? Like, keep Jonathan out front while the other 3 deny that they want to work with him, or like they kind of how do they best use him as the shield? Do they publicly acknowledge that they're together, or do they try to like put this?
Tell
What do you
everyone
mean, like when they first hit merge?
Yeah.
Okay.
How does the Taku tribe approach it now?
Okay, what has to happen, I'm sorry, but for Taku to do well, is Jonathan's going to have to go on an immunity run, which is possible. The guy's a cartoon. So he could literally just go win like 7 in a row. And that's the only way Orange really maneuvers themselves through the game. I mean, really. I mean, without him, I think they're just sitting ducks, because then there'll only be 3 people. And then, so he has to win. When they have to get the merge with him, and then he has to win. Which he's probably going to.
But would you ally yourself with him versus go against him?
I mean, if I'm on the Orange tribe, I'd want to be on his side. Yeah, for sure.
But merge if you merged.
Even if we merged, because I would want him, like I said, I would like to get to the end with him. And then,
How do you beat him at the end, though?
You argue that he did nothing strategically. He just won challenges, and you keep him out of big strategic moves, and you just tell him what to do. And, if you have that argument at the end of the game, then it depends what the jury favors.
Can Marianne make that argument?
I think Lindsay could, and I think Omar could. You know what I mean?
Not Marianne.
No.
No.
Nope.
Can Marianne win this game?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Nope.
I don't think there's any universe in where Marianne got to the end and talked her way into a victory.
Unless she like drops an act and she's like, I'm actually the Ivy League student.
And I think if Jonathan makes it to the end, he'll only win because they respect his challenge wins. No, I don't think he's going to win because of a strategic play. You know what I mean? Right. So,
yeah, it's interesting because so Mary's hoping for the swap, but I don't know if I am. I'm almost hoping that we get one more episode and then we just get a whole merge.
I think that might happen. I think that might happen. Like the preview for the next week's episode, they're all wearing their original tribe colors, so it was, as far as we know, it's not a swap, and they usually show us that the swap's coming. So
drop
your buffs,
but not really,
right? Yeah, but not really. But then it does happen.
Yeah, just at the end though, you're gonna have to wait. We're gonna
have to play a challenge to see who ends up where.
We'll send somebody to change the course of Survivor history by smashing a bottle on an island.
I think there will be something goofy again this season.
She would.
It'll be something like that again, where go to this island and then you have a decision to make. Do you get an idol or do you not?
Right? I smashed the hourglass and I changed the course of history.
I think actually that would be a good idea. I think if they go to an island and they have the choice between getting an idol, but they lose their vote for like 2 votes in a row or something, which one would they choose? You know,
Right. Sometimes you're in the sorry.
Sure.
Do or die. I was trying to see if I could find the probe thing where he was like, "You have to change the history, Erica."
No luck.
No luck.
Like-
It's sometimes hard to find these.
this season is playing more guys with the idea of like losing your vote or not being able to vote at all. You know, like they kind of did last season and the season before, but like Survivor's doing that more, right? And
Shot
like
in the
now,
darks.
and now they're doing Shot in the Darks. And also, when you find an immunity idol, you're basically have no vote in the game, and your idol doesn't work. You know, so you're really just a passenger in the game.
Yeah, there was a couple things. Yeah, we didn't talk about yet. Which one was that? Marianne, she said her phrase again at the challenge.
Yeah.
And nobody bit. Mike is the only one we know definitely has it. And he's not
Marianne.
biting. Well,
And
Marianne,
Marianne.
yeah, but Marianne keeps saying it, right? You know, and Mike
Right.
keeps not saying it. And as far as we know, no one on the Blue Tribe has found it, and they just think she's a crazy person who talks whatever her phrase is. I can't even remember right now.
The only person that's going to find it on the Blue Tribe is going to be probably Drea, right? Maybe Romeo, but that would suck.
Maybe Romeo. I could see him finding it. And the other thing too was that when Swati got voted out tonight too, she mentions that like she expects to be invited back for All Stars. I was trying to figure that one out.
No.
She was putting that out into the universe, hoping it would come true.
Like to manifest it.
Yeah,
She's like,
oh,
Boston Rob also got eliminated. It's like,
I'm
you
like-
ain't no Boston Rob.
I'm like, you're no Boston Rob. That's
Boston
exactly
Rob-
what-
well, but he didn't get voted out like the second on his tribe. Like,
he did. He got in the first season he played in Marquesas. He got voted out 4th. That's why she said that.
and he got to play in All Stars, being a 4th vote out. No, he
Yeah.
made it to merge, didn't he, in that season?
I don't think
no,
so.
he didn't get to merge.
I'm pretty sure he made it to episode 4.
But it was
Alright.
also a personality that people like remembered from Marquesas.
He made it further than 4th in Marquesas. Like
I think she said it at the end. She was like, "Well, Boston Rob got voted out 4th in his first season too, so I guess I got to come back and win All Stars." That's what she said.
Nah, not happening.
He got voted out day 21. So he didn't make jury.
How many people got voted out before him?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, well, he finished. So he was. Oh, wow. Okay, he did better than I thought.
That was again 39-day season.
she was wrong.
Yeah, she was wrong. So what they share in common is they've been voted out pre-jury.
Yeah,
Did
but
Boston Rob got voted out 4th, I believe, in Heroes Villains.
That I think he's right. Yeah, he didn't make it that far in that game because of
and she
Russell.
wasn't a hero nor villain, nor fan favorite, nor all-star. So
She just really started to play the game this episode. You know, like I feel like she wasn't bringing a lot to the TV show, and strategically, she was just like very like one note. It was like, "You're my best friend, right? Okay, you're my best friend, right? Okay," you know. And she wasn't able to read her tribe. She wasn't able to maneuver with what was going on with, and Tori is like this person. I was like, okay, I guess we're not voting her out. It's like this tribe is trying to look at threats. Like both vote outs, they voted out
Zach.
Swati and Zach. They were both threats. Like they're both like, oh, we don't want them around later.
Look, the problem she really had was she gave up way too early on that Tory alliance. She should have told Tory, it's like, look, they're looking to vote you out, right? And I don't want to have you voted out. I want to work with you. So, like, we need to work together and find a third person so we can vote out Drea, right? A lot better than, like, at least Tori has a reason of not going to the other side and flipping on her.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. Tori, I would not keep around in the game. Like, you want to talk about threats later? She's a threat at any point in the game. She's a complete wild card, especially in a merge situation. She'll give up any information she has. So if you're going to keep her in the game, you tell her nothing. You tell her the opposite of what's happening at all times.
Reverse psychology, I get you.
Just you can't trust her, right? Like, if she went up on the summit to risk her vote or whatever, she would give it all away. That's my read on Tori. I don't think I don't give her a lot of credit there. Okay. Anything else in this episode worth mentioning? No.
Other than no, not really. I mean, yeah, that wasn't the best episode.
Was it?
It was
Nord's outcome.
out. Right.
What's the vibe of this tribe?
It's never a good sign when it's Probe's quote that is the name of the episode. It's not good. You know, it shows that the cast isn't giving us the goods with their entertainment value.
Just as Blue Tribe, it's just kind of like they have it's unfairly stacked in certain cases. Like the personalities are not well spread out.
And then Jonathan just has the strength of an entire tribe. They just need to make a four team tribe and just have Jonathan by himself.
Zach was supposed to be the personality on the Blue Tribe, and they voted him out.
And just Jonathan. And then he destroys the other tribes.
Okay, so we'll be back in 1 week to talk about the next episode of Survivor 42 titled I'm Survivor Rich. That will be on April 6, 2022. We're going to see who gets voted out next. I'm interested to see what happens with Daniel in particular in this next episode, because he looks like he's just becoming the most hated Survivor contestant in Survivor history, like from his fellow Survivor.
History.
Well, not history. Like that would be like a Russell Hantz or somebody.
Is he the most hated? I don't think he's hated.
Well, who do you think's the most hated? Who do you think's the most hated?
Sugar?
Sugar?
Jerry.
I don't hate Sugar.
Wait, you don't hate Sugar?
No, I don't hate Sugar. Well,
word.
Like the real Sugar, I don't like, but it's like the person is fine.
Really?
Are we talking about the person or like
the person Sugar?
The
right.
contest. The
I don't
pinup girl? What? Like I don't hate her.
I know Corinne hated her.
I know, and I agree with Corinne.
But this is, I think that you're kind of on an island about hating Sugar, right? Like
really, people like Sugar.
Some people, I'm sure, like her.
She's not a hateable contestant.
What? Oh my gosh,
dude! Like, did you watch Gabon?
I did watch it. I hated her.
No, right? No, I was talking to Dave. Like,
yeah, like what? Like no more than
almost utterly unlikable. Like made you like Randy. Like how Sugar was terrible.
She had her merits, sure. Like
what?
I think
she even came back, Dave, for Heroes Villains, and she just tried to who did she try to cuddle up to? Was it Colby or?
Yeah, they brought her back for an All Stars. Like that tells you something.
She was first voted out. They were like, we don't even want this girl around. Not because we're threatened by her, because we don't like her.
Corinne didn't come back for Villains, did she?
Yeah, she was the hero.
Clearly, somebody will like Sugar. She was a hero.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Sugar came back as a hero,
which is messed up to me.
Yeah, she should have been on the villain tribe, and Sandra should have been on the hero tribe. Sandra was not a villain.
Sandra was a villain.
She was a hero. Ruthless. People were happy that she won because she beat Lil and she beat Johnny Fairplay. Like
I like Johnny Fairplay a lot.
I like Johnny Fairplay
he's
too.
Not a hero. He's not.
I wanted him to
hero,
win.
Though.
I wanted him to win that season. Don't get me wrong. I thought he was the best character on the show in a long time.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but back to Daniel. Daniel is less hateable than any of those people.
Daniel,
I would hate Sugar more.
It's a different type of hate. It's
more like annoyance.
Like the
irritation.
whole thing where they were like, "Oh, he's a lawyer. He knows how to use his words or whatever." It's like, no, he doesn't. He literally said, "I'm not going to go to Rocks." Like he opened with his clothes. Like
who I was like. He has no backbone. Immediately, just
yeah. Oh yeah, that was great. I wish I pulled that because it was like, hi. He's like, this man has no backbone whatsoever. It's just like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, hi. You know what's up.
He's a squealer.
I can tell who the squealers are. Anyway, so we'll be back for the end week. Check out our other podcasts, guys, here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting, including we'll be coming back in just a short time to talk about Big Brother Canada 10 tonight, just to check in about the state of the affairs. There was a couple of things that happened on the episode that I kind of want to touch on with the guys. So check that out on our channel here, as well as our other podcasts, that have come before and that will come after this, including Marvel Cinematic Universe podcasts, including most recently we did Hawkeye, but we've talked about WandaVision. We've talked about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, even Black Widow. We talked about them all. We've got some great podcasts over there you can check out. And in the future, Moon Knight And very soon, well, that's the most soon to come up. And then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in the near future. And Ozark, Jeff, on the horizon as well.
That's right.
Here on the channel. So we're going to be talking about lots of great content, both reality, scripted and unscripted, as well as our other two channels. One is called Trivial Debates, a monthly channel where we argue about movies, TV, sports with our friends here in like a game show format. Most recently, Max hosting with Jaemeel, our this podcast very own Jaemeel Robinson, competing against Live Long and Podcast Jody Simpson and Worf, son of Moog from the farm planet of Galt. There was it was quite the affair. Check that out. I
watched some of it. Wasn't impressed with the hosting judging.
The hosting and judging, I think, had some issues. I think it was a little bit biased.
It was a tiny bit biased.
Like what I'm there doing the production right behind the scenes, and like the question is like, what's the best sci-fi series to recommend to a friend other than Star Trek, basically? And I was like, whoever says Doctor Who will win. And then like the Doctor Who answer comes in, and I was like, it's over. Max will give this point away. So,
but it shouldn't be. I never judged an answer based off like which one I thought was correct. I when you're a judge, you must judge the arguments and the passion and the creativity.
I think that Chris was bad in this category in this respect as a previous host, but I think Max has taken it to a whole new level that Chris never did. I think Chris listened more than Max did.
I agree.
Yeah. So there's that. You wanted some controversial podcast?
Great job for that episode.
I'm just saying. I think Worf, son of Moog, had some good ideas.
So, yeah. Well, yeah, he had some points. He was a little bit frustrated, but his honor was wounded a bit in that podcast. Go check it out on Trivial Debates on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you get your audio podcast. Plus, Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek themed channel where we talk about Star Trek all the time. Monday nights, we continue our ongoing saga to watch every episode of Star Trek Enterprise with Jody Simpson and Adam Woodward and Kevin Millard. Now up to episode 18, I believe. We just talked about Rogue Planet most recently, and we'll be talking about Acquisition next week. Over on Tuesday nights, we talk about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, going through all of those episodes for well over, or I guess coming up on 2 years, Jeff, right? Since we started that podcast, watching every episode of Deep Space Nine now, and up to season 5. We just talked about the Darkness and the Light last night.
Yes.
That was, right, and there's one coming up with Odo next week. He gets his change.
Rapture or what is
no. It's a great episode of Star Trek Season 9 featuring Odo, Rene Auberjonois, the great late Auberjonois, where he gets the baby changeling.
It's the Begotten?
The Begotten, that's right. We'll be talking about that one next. And then on Thursday, tomorrow night, I'll be with Jody Simpson and Davin Skellhorn, and we'll see about Adam Woodward to talk about Star Trek Picard, Season 2, Episode 5, Fly Me to the Moon. We're going to be talking about that with them and breaking that episode down with Jody Simpson's screen grabs, and we'll be analyzing it and theorizing what's coming next. A in-depth breakdown. Plus, check out our Friends podcast. Most notably, my son, Amy Mader, under his alias, Sam Jerka, has Let's Talk About Fighting Games, which he has Sonic Smash Bros. Seth and Paranoia. Mary Bass just wants to know if you all saw the Oscars. It's a sensitive subject for Jaemeel. He doesn't like talking about it, Mary Bass.
Don't make him go there.
Don't make him go there. He doesn't want to, especially in public. But I will address it. I don't mind. What's to say? I will say this, that I think Will Smith got away with quite a bit that night. I think that Chris Rock's joke in poor taste, sure, but I don't think you can hit any comedian you don't like.
What I wanted to see is Chris Rock's response, which apparently is happening tonight in Boston because he's doing a stand-up show, and apparently every ticket was like $1,000 because they were originally $100, and then they started rescalping them, and they all went for like $1,000. It was
strong integrity there. Great job, Chris Rock.
They were all bought by Jaden Smith, right?
Right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yes, we all saw I watched it live, Mary, and it was quite the affair. It will not something I'm going to forget anytime soon. I remember that one time Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. Great stuff in some ways. I don't approve of what he did, but I think it's going to be just one of these cultural moments and memes. And I feel bad for Chris Rock in some respects, but also not, because I think he kind of not deserved it in any way. It's just it was, to me, it was just
Yeah,
kinda
that ass whooping could have come after the show.
yeah.
Well,
Well, like,
after party, just
like-
beat the shit. Stop the
you
dude.
could do it at the after party at the very least. Don't
Yeah.
do it live TV.
Elton John's after party.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do it at
the
the,
AIDS Foundation. Yeah.
or just your Will Smith. Just get on Twitter and say Chris Rock's a
No, he's
dick
not
and,
gonna do that.
You know, but that's
He's gonna bring him. Well, I don't know if you are aware of this reference. He's gonna bring him to the red table. Do you get that reference?
I don't. Is that like
It's a show that Jada
Yes.
does that is basically like, come talk to us about your deepest secrets and worries and therapy and it's like, so yeah, that's what she was like, I've been cheating on Will and all this stuff, and and Will had to sit there and like act like just take it. It was pretty, I don't know, it was pretty rough to watch.
there's they're an interesting celebrity couple. I gotta tell you, I've been following them for off and on. Not really, like I'm not super into what they're up to or they're the family, but of course I know them. I've watched those Matrix movies. I've watched
Right.
Fresh Prince. I know.
Can you
I know
imagine Will Smith had been Neo? Oh my god.
Well, she
It would have been a
probably
totally
cast.
different. Look, whenever that comes up, right? It would have been a totally different movie because it was earlier on in production. Just
That's
like
true.
with a lot of people, like was it John Travolta's Morpheus? Like there was a multitude.
Val
of
Kilmer Morpheus.
John Travolta as well.
That would be the best. John Travolta.
But like once
You
again,
want a
like,
blue pill or a red pill?
the concept changes, right? And one of the issues that Will had was it was so early on in production that a lot of the technology didn't seem feasible. So he was like, I don't know what you mean by like the bullet time aspect. It didn't make any sense. And then on the other side, he had Barry Sonnenfeld saying, hey, we're going to do a remake of Wild Wild West. You're going to get paid a ridiculous amount of money. Do you want to do Chris Klein and Selma Hayek's in it? Whereas The Matrix is by an unknown duo, could be with Warner Brothers, and we don't know about the technology. You're gonna take the Wild Wild West one,
And you gotta do like 10 months of like intense kung fu training.
yes.
Was the other part of it.
They're also not gonna let you sing on the soundtrack. Now, look at Wild Wild.
There will be, yeah, but you can do Wild Wild West, the song. He's like done.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it. Like I think we got the right result with the cast.
yeah,
we
everything
got.
works out. Everything
It all
works
worked out. Matrix is a classic.
Just like James Cameron, Spider-Man never coming to be.
Some things are not meant to be.
With Leonardo
either.
DiCaprio as Peter Parker.
Well, Leonardo DiCaprio was almost Robin in Batman Forever.
Dude, Damon Wayans got paid to be Robin. He was signed on to be Robin.
He was robbed of it. Robin of it.
They just went a different direction. He still got paid for it, right? When people talk about how Warner Brothers is a terrible company, and people just refer to like what recently happened with Zack Snyder, they're wrong. Right? This is a company that has just been horrible since like Christopher Reeve era. Superman 4 was sold to the rights were sold to what Hammer Productions, that does like the B movies. So they took the budget of they had a choice. They took the budget of Superman 4, right? Took the money and put it into Masters of the Universe, the movie.
Great
with Dolph
movie.
Lundgren, right? They took the extra budget and put it into that one, right? Hoping that it will pay dividends. And Superman 4 was Superman 4, right? That basically killed that character for like what? Almost like 30 years, right? Superman Returns had such an astronomical budget, not because of the production of that specific movie, about the 4 or 5 different movies that they did pay to play contracts with like Tim Burton and Kevin Smith and various writers where they're like, yeah, we'll pay you if even if we don't make the movie. And they were just handing out money like crazy. So
I
by
don't
the time Superman
approve.
Returns came out, like there was no way it was going to make its money back.
Warner Brothers is bad. I'm with you, Jaemeel.
It's
And
a terrible run company.
okay, and then also check out our other friends podcast, the Hellbound podcast with Michael Chan and Alex Blackburn. every Wednesday they talk about something horror related and do some skits and different things. Also, Michael Chan last night was on Locutors Our Track. Our Jeff and I's cousin Davin Skellhorn, along with his partner Dave Pugsley over there, interviewing Michael Chan about his time on Discovery and his career as an actor. I listened to the whole interview today. It was quite good. As it was on last night when we were doing Deep Space 99. I just couldn't watch it live. So check out Locutors Our Track. That's Davin's.
Did you talk about how we used to do masquerade skits together? No, I didn't mention that.
No, I don't think he did mention. I don't remember him mentioning that.
That's for part 2. Can't wait.
It's a part. Yeah, there might be more interviews.
Need to bring him back.
Yeah, Dave, Michael Chan interview over there on Locutors Our Track. Check out Davin and Dave's channel as well. They talk about all kinds of great Star Trek content over there, debates and Raiders Room pitches and intellectual kinds of things. And it's very, very interesting. And then X-Men, the animated series, X-rated rewatch he does with Andre, his buddy over there. They just did a great interview the other night of an X-Men, the animated series animator / comic book artist that you should really hear. And they'd go through each episode of that great cartoon episode by episode and talk about it. So I think those are all the plugs, right? And on that note, I think we should commemorate the great Jonathan, who I think, regardless of the outcome of the season, maybe a Survivor Hall of Famer. And we could all owe it to Pops. He's Pops. Have a good night, everybody.
For waking him up.
When I was young, my dad, he used to wake me up and he would tell my brother and I to run up a mountain and race. And whoever lost had to do it 3 more times.